So welcome to 2025 and welcome to another video. So I wanted to make a list of my 10 favorite video games I played this past year, and 2024 was a great year in gaming for me. I feel like I'm not sure what you guys thought of that year. Not necessarily in releases, because honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know if any single one of these games actually released last year. In fact, they may be all older than 2024 now that I think about it. Anyway, so yeah, my top 10 favorites. Number 1 is my favorite game that I played, of course. So let's dive right into number 10. So for my number 10 pick, I don't have a physical copy of this game to show off here, as I actually played it on my laptop. And I don't play a lot of PC games, but I do here and there. I've played Minecraft in the past. Quite a bit of that, and I've played a few other PC games here and there, but Pseudo Regalia was one that I thought would maybe come to the Switch at some point, but it didn't seem like that would be anytime soon, and I was really interested in this game and checking it out because of Nitro Rad's video on the game. It looked really interesting because it kind of has this Nintendo 64 style, or not kind of, but it really does have the graphical style of the Nintendo 64, and Mario 64 is an amazing game, an amazing platformer, and one that I really got into a couple of years ago. So I wanted to check this one out because it's not only an incredible platformer, but it also has kind of the progression of a Legend of Zelda game, or kind of Metroid style game where in order to progress you need different abilities and items and whatnot. So yeah, anyway, really an incredible platformer. The soundtrack as well fits really the whole atmosphere of the game. You're in this castle that seems kind of empty and kind of dark and mysterious. Anyway, so yeah, the atmosphere of the game is incredible, and the gameplay itself is really fun. The platforming is super smooth, very well done, and man, overall, it's a really fun game, and it's interesting because I played this with a Nintendo 64 controller. Not the best way to play this game, I'm not gonna lie, but it was a lot of fun. So yeah, I used a Nintendo 64, an official controller, with an adapter plugged into my laptop to play this game. And anyway, I'm gonna ramble on far too long if we keep going with this, but anyway, I mapped the controller to kind of fit the game as best I could, use the C buttons for the camera controls and everything. So yeah, some jumps were hard to make because you have to move the camera midair, but then you have to wall jump. Anyway, it was really fun though, and I had a blast playing this with a Nintendo 64 controller. It felt just like a classic game, and a lot of fun. Pseudo Regalia, definitely worth checking out. So for my number 9 pick, I had to go with Cuphead. I got this actually for Christmas of 2023 and didn't get around to playing it for a couple months into 2024. So Cuphead is an amazing run and gun game, heavily focused on boss battles actually, which is interesting because I thought it would be more traditional levels with boss fights at the end of them. Or at the end of each world, but for the vast majority of the game, it's just a bunch of boss fights, and it is a tough game, but once you get the hang of it, it's really satisfying to figure out each boss's attack pattern and everything, and once you learn the boss the boss's attacks, and you're able to beat him, it's a lot of fun, and it's a bit nostalgic for me because I did watch a lot of cartoons like this. I feel like growing up as a kid and, older cartoons in this style, and the amount of detail that they put into this game, not only visually, everything is hand-drawn frame by frame, which is insane, and I'm sure, it would have had to have taken such a long time, but in the game it really pays off, and the music really good of that era, I'd have to say, they really nailed it. And yeah, just a very solid game. And a lot of the time, tough games can be pretty frustrating, but this one, yeah, it definitely had its frustrating moments, but I felt like it was tough but fair. You really have to learn the enemy's movements, and once you do, and once you master the parry and everything, really, really solid run and gun. Definitely, definitely an awesome game, and that's why it's in number 9 for me this year, or past year, I guess. So for my number 8 pick, I went with Rayman 2. On Nintendo 64, it is available on a lot of different consoles, but yeah, I went with the Nintendo 64 version of the game, and I've got to say, it was really impressive, and just how well it ran on there and how good it looked visually. But this game, yeah, another platformer. It's very different from kind of a more open level design. This one is more linear, so you have kind of a set path and goal. It does have some exploration and secrets to find in the levels, but I really liked the atmosphere of this game. I really liked the pirate theme, especially. The music was fun. Why did I say it like that? The music was, I don't know, reminded me of my childhood, I guess I should say. And really the only other Rayman game that I've ever played is Rayman Origins. I've played a good amount of that. And I've played a little bit of Rayman 1 on PlayStation 1, but this is very different, of course, being a 3D platformer. But it does have some combat mixed in there as well. There's a variety of different types of missions. Sometimes you'll be riding a rocket, sometimes you'll be, I don't know, riding a flying pirate ship. But there were some very, very tense moments where you're running from a pirate ship. Anyway, just a lot of variety in the gameplay, and I think that's why it really stood out to me. But also just a very well-made game, and I can see why a lot of people really, really like Rayman 2, and it seems to be a lot of people's favorite from that series. And yeah, you know what? I totally see that, because it was a very, very fun game to play this year. So with my number 7 pick, I went with Tomb Raider, in particular the 2013 reboot. This is a very survival-focused game where you have to pretty much just try and survive. You get stuck on this island and you're trying to find a way off. So you're making your way through all these old tombs and just really scrambling to survive with limited resources. But anyway, it has really satisfying progression where you do get new items to be able to reach a certain area, and you do get new weapons as well, but you can also upgrade the gear that you do have. So yeah, Tomb Raider was a lot of fun. The gameplay is a lot of fun. The story was really good and had a satisfying ending, in my opinion. Anyway, just a really solid survival game that definitely deserves to be on this list. Coming in at number 6 for me is Paper Mario Color Splash. This one may be a bit controversial because fans of the Paper Mario series will tell you this is one of the worst ones. So in that sense, there's kind of negativity toward this game. But this is the only Paper Mario game that I've ever played, I've got to admit. I do have the Thousand Year Door on Switch. I haven't played it yet, though. But I don't know. The other Paper Mario games must be pretty dang good if this is one of the worst ones, because this game, I really enjoyed it. I liked the combat. I thought it was fun and interesting how you have to use the cards. And yeah, I thought it was fun. And I also thought the story was pretty solid. And the dialogue really, really made this game super enjoyable. It's so well written. There's a lot of dry humor. I don't know, there's a lot of jokes that are genuinely funny in this game, in my opinion. I thought, well, it made me laugh quite a few times. It's just a very light-hearted game that I played very early on in 2024, and I think it was a great way to start off the year because it was just such an amazing game. So if this game I thought was so good, I'm very interested to see how other Paper Mario games are. Anyway, Paper Mario Color Splash is my number 6 pick. So for my number 5 pick, I went with Fire Emblem Awakening. This is one that had been in my collection for a couple years, and I finally got around to playing it in 2024. So yeah, Fire Emblem Awakening is definitely one of the major 3DS games, I'd have to say. It's definitely one that I think would, uh, I don't know. It's kind of those must have, one of those must have titles for the 3DS, I feel like. But yeah, finally got around to playing it, and it did not disappoint. I played the demo back when it first released and didn't get the game until several years later and didn't get around to playing it until much later on. But story wise, it is super good. Just awesome strategy RPG uh, elements in there, the gameplay, and the music was great as well. Just overall, I think this is definitely one of the best 3DS games and definitely a must have on the 3DS. So for my number 4 pick is Guardians of the Galaxy. So I played this one digitally on Xbox as I only got it for like, I don't know, maybe $5 or so. And I think I may have to pick up a physical copy of this game at some point. It is a lot better than I think you'd expect from a game like this. It has really a really well told story, and the team dynamic is so well done. It's really cool because in your ship you have the option to go and throw on some classic music, and I don't know, for me personally that's just a cool point of the game. But the highlights of the game are really the team dynamics and the humor between the team is just really well done, where it's not over the top, and the combat as well is really fun, and the story is really solid as well, and definitely I don't know, I feel like this game is way better than anyone would really expect, but definitely uh, I don't know, is it a hidden gem? Do a lot of people know about this game? I'm not too sure, but I really enjoyed it, and that's why it makes the number 4 spot for me. So for my number 3 pick, I went with Resident Evil 4. Of course, the remaster released this last year, but I played the original and it was so good. This is the first Resident Evil game that I've played all the way through. I've played a little bit of the first one on PlayStation 1, but this game was definitely a highlight of my year for sure, which is of course why it's in number 3. It there are definitely a lot of horror elements in there. It kind of leans more into the action side of things, but overall I really like the location of this game as well. There's some cool locations, and really it holds up well today. This is seriously one of the best looking GameCube games I think that I have ever played. And yeah, just really glad to have played this game, as it is so well made. It really stands the test of time. The controls are a little they're not bad by any means. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is there, but they're a little bit older style, I guess. But still, this game really stands out in terms of gameplay and atmosphere, and yeah, it just really all comes together in one package that makes Resident Evil 4 the original. I do want to play the remaster or remake, I guess, at some point. But yeah, Resident Evil 4, such a classic game, and I can see why after playing it this past year. And that's why it makes my number 3 pick. So for my number 2 pick, I went with Uncharted Drake's Fortune. So this, of course, is the Nathan Drake collection on PS4, which has 1 through 3. and I played them all back to back, 1 through 3. And the first one really stood out to me, of course, as that was the first one that I had played. I really liked the location of 1, and this was a series I was really excited to play because um, growing up, Indiana Jones was one of my favorite characters and one of my favorite movie series. So I was really excited to get into these games because, of course, there's a lot of inspiration from Indiana Jones in Uncharted, and really cool, treasure hunt type stuff in here. So yeah, Uncharted, Drake's Fortune, really, really solid introduction to the Uncharted series, and I really enjoyed all 3 that I played. And 1 just kind of stands out to me personally. But yeah, the gameplay is a lot of fun, kind of that cover based shooting, but cool exploration in there as well. So yeah, Uncharted, Drake's Fortune was an incredible game, and that's why it makes my number 2 spot on this list. So my number 1 favorite game of 2024, or that I played in that year, was God of War Ragnarok. I was really wondering how they could top 2018, but I think they really accomplished it here. It was cool to see how the world had changed after the events of that game. It was cool to see the progression of the story, of course, be introduced to other uh, gods of Norse mythology. Yeah, I'm really interested in that mythology. Just Greek mythology, Norse mythology, I think is all really interesting. So, yeah, seeing more of that in this game. But story wise, it's so well written. The characters are so well written, and overall, it just really comes together in this one incredible package with amazing combat, amazing music, amazing atmosphere, really awesome story of father and son. But ultimately, yeah, God of War Ragnarok is my number 1 pick of 2024. So that's my list. I'm excited to see what 2025 will bring in terms of, I guess, what games I'll be playing this year. And I'm also interested what games you played in 2024. What were your favorites of that last year? So yeah, just let me know. Anyway, appreciate you watching this video, and I'll catch you in the next one.